Hey there, One Up Indie here, coming with another advanced GameMaker video tutorial, and today we're gonna go into and dabble into time, so timestamps, past time, internal time, and then of course external local time, and then some manipulation to that. And if you're thinking, wow, do I actually need this? Well, if you are a mobile developer, definitely yes. For the other ones, so this is then maybe for achievements, Easter eggs, and maybe some stuff which is then bound to the local time of the PC, but most of the time it's rather not being used, just I don't know, for achievements or whatever, or just tracking how long players have played the game and so on. So once again, for the mobile dudes, very critical because of time gates and all that stuff, fun stuff you can do on mobile devices. So if you want to join me on this advanced non-coding, or well, definitely coding part, then stick around. This is One Up Indie. I am a developer, so if you like what you're seeing and hearing, then why not consider sharing, liking and subscribing to the channel, of course. So the normal idea was, I got a request from somebody in my Discord, and subscriber as far as I know. Also, he just wants to make a mobile game like Candy Crush, and then he wanted to save the time which has been passed. And of course there is an issue. Let's say you have a game, then you can pretty much track your time internally if you like with just a variable, but let's say you close your game, then well, this all stuff is getting lost. So what do? Well, you need to do a few things. First of all, you just track your current time which you want to do, for example your hours and so on in the day. And then for example you just close the game, then you store it into an ini, so basically an outside file, and then later on, once you restart the application, so the game, then boom, you need to read out that stuff, and then you make a comparison between the current time and then the time which has been stored in the timestamp. That's the gist of it, how that works. So a few things which are kind of noteworthy. So there is of course the official version, if you like. There is under math and numbers and GameMaker references. Here's all that fun stuff in there, but let's go through the most important ones which could be interesting for you in general, and of course for the mobile developers also. So the first thing, which is current time, this is the thing which is then just ticking away and expanding all the time. Constantly, this is getting reset once you close the application. Good for tracking, if you want to know how long players stay in the game and so on. But once again, just for achievements or whatever, then this could be interesting for you. But besides that, not too terribly interesting. Maybe for some, I don't know, performance testing or whatever. Then the next thing which we can do is we can check out the current day, or maybe the current hour, or maybe the current week, current month, current year. I guess you get the gist. And then that stuff is getting here. For example, here I got my ungodly hour, which is pretty much midnight with full moon. So basically all the werewolves are coming out, and therefore yeah, so basically this is then tracking and getting your current datetime, so basically the stuff which is on your machine. Of course you can change that, because maybe you want to change the time zone. So for that we got get time zone and set time zone. So for now this machine is locked to the European plus Central one. Of course you can change that because I don't know, you are a foreigner in a different country, and then you want to actually use the local time of your home country. So there are different kind of ways how to adjust it. So once again, you can change that in the game if you like. So therefore this is the short version, just current time, current hour, current week, current year. But of course you can actually get it by a different way, which is date get day, or for example date get hour, and then date current daytime. And then of course if you see that dude and that dude, pretty much basically the same stuff, and you're thinking, why should I not just use this one? Well, this one can be passed in a different argument. So here you need here we go, a date, and then this date could be the local one. So here the local one is date current daytime, or you create your own, which is then date create daytime, and then you kind of create a different kind of, it's not a timestamp, but a different time in per se, and then you pass it in, and then you can read out a different kind of thing. So for example, you could simulate for your own game, different kind of your own internal time, if you like. So that could be interesting if you want, but basically you can just import it, and therefore yay. And then let's go to the next thing, because that's not too practical. So once again, we can read out the day, the hour, the week, the year, whatever. This is then of course great for the systems which are in mobile. So basically you just play something and then you got a timer which is just blocking you from accessing some stuff, and therefore here what you do is then reading those out and then using them. So the next thing which is cool as a timestamp is called datetime string. And then of course once again input your current time, and that is basically giving you a string of what kind of month we're having, year, and this is European standard as far as I know. Yeah, this is European standard, and normally I guess in America you have it differently. For example, you got first the month, then the day, and then the year, but here this is the European standard thing, so don't be confused with that. And then of course the internal seconds, minutes and hours of the clock, which are at the bottom here, or the ones which you set by yourself. So once again, pretty cool. Or if you want to say like, hey, how many days have passed in the year? So for example, this could be interesting. So date get day of the year, and then it's just calculating that stuff, and then you can have a different request. For example, how many weeks of the year, or how many hours of the year, and so on. These things are there. Generally not too useful for most people, but this is what you can do. Let's go into the practical part. So let's say you want to make your Candy Crush and have your time gating system. So what do you do? First of all, you start your game, you create this instance, and then for example at the start you are reading out your ini. Inis once again work pretty fine with mobile devices also, so this is a solid thing. And then for example you're reading out your time, I don't know, your hours or your days or whatever, and then what you can do is, once you read that out, make a comparison. So here this is how it could work out, and this is a little bit complicated, but bear with me, this is actually what you were looking for. So let's say you want to have a comparison between your current time, so once you started your application again, and then the old time which was saved in a timestamp, and then for example these values here of the year, the month, the day, the hour, minute and so on are being filled in from, for example here, hour, where's the minutes, here we go, an hour, and then you would fill them in, and then you have date, hour, span, and this would calculate the hourly difference between those two times. And this is the thing which you want to have, and then later on you can work with this value, because well, you cannot let your application run for infinity. The people need to close it, and then you need to calculate between the timestamp of the old one which was saved and then the new one which you're having, and then make a little comparison, and then date, hour, span. Of course there are more ones than just span. Here for example date second span, date minute span. So here once again, if you want to go a little bit more granular, then you can use those guys here, and boom, you can once again current time and the quotations, the time which you saved as a timestamp, and then here once again this is a time big variable, or an array or whatever you want to call that, with all the inputs, and then boom, you just use that for your game. Hopefully that was of interest to you guys. So once again, good for mobile developers who are doing some time, not manipulation, but checking and then gating, and using that for, I don't know, unlocks or blocking, unblocking and so on. Alrighty, that was it from my side. Have a good one. One up indie.